Hey guys, my name is Theo, and I just wanted to go a little bit on the riff and take some time to just kind of vibe in my studio and just recollect myself and recollect the thoughts that I've been having and that have just been sort of lingering on the back burner of my brain and just talk about art. Maybe I'll throw in a little bit of background of myself drawing or something. Not right now, as you can see, my paws are free. But I honestly just wanted to have a sit down and throw up a speed paint. And I like going through those videos every once in a while where an artist is just talking about something, maybe a struggle they've faced or a lesson they've learned through their art career. And it's just really sort of comforting to listen to every so often. And I find it really enjoyable to try to compare their experiences and figure out how I can overcome my own art challenges. So, yeah, let's take some time to just ruminate. So, one thing actually, just to start this off, that I've been sort of thinking about and just kind of been troubled by, and I want to work through this right now as I, go off the cuff here, was just feeling this pressure to work through my laziness and procrastination when I just don't really feel the motivation to do art, to literally sit down and do the one thing that I would consider my purpose in life to be. You would think like, oh, I was born to do this. I have all of the skill and all of the knowledge to start drawing. Why does it feel like some days I'm just not mentally or physically equipped to just draw, especially when I have to do it for a client? And as I'm saying this thing now, like even that phrasing, have to do art, isn't that kind of nuts? Like, you think a lot of people would just start making art because they're making art, illustrating, making music. That's all like a form of expression. You just want to express yourself, so that's why art sometimes has this kind of whimsical nature to it. You don't have to think about it. You just have to express yourself. But I mean, there's definitely a whole lot of layers there to unpack, and I just want to tackle it from my own little bit of experience here. I'm not super artistically inclined or anything, just as a little bit of background. Everything that I learned was through books and through YouTube University. So a lot of self-taught things that I've loved to like see through DeviantArt, things on For Affinity, local artists in my furry circles in the furry community. Uh, all of these things are just sort of things on my own personal list of experiences that I've done that aren't really, I would say, professional, but have just culminated into what I love doing the most, and that's making art for my community, by my community, etc. Uh, it wasn't something that I've ever like felt like I was born to do or had any kind of innate skill to do. I learned everything literally from just trying to understand the basics of art, and I wanted to make art that I love to see. So that included like furry characters, landscape painting, everything about art just really made me excited. And I never saw myself achieve like any kind of skill. Really, I mean, this is not to like sound humbling or anything. It's just like I literally was as blank as the canvas that I would always see in my high school days and middle school days. Like, I never knew what to draw. I never felt like I had a great idea. Um, but there was always that kind of motivation to be like, maybe, like, what if I could? What if I just tried my best? And it was that little bit of trying my best every day. Well, first of all, building up the courage to even try daily, that got me started in my art. But anyway, that's way more background than what I wanted to actually get into for like the topic for today. And that is, like, again, just procrastination with all. I guess I was mentioning the background stuff because with all of this set up for myself that I've done for myself for my art career over the past like 4 or 5 years now of just trying to be serious about art. um why why do I still find it struggle why do I still find myself struggling with trying to motivate myself with art? Like, why do I still find those days to be hard where I don't feel like an artist, where I don't feel like doing art? I mean, if I've set up my environment, everything around me right now to do the one thing that I want my life to be, why do I feel like I just can't some days? and that always nags at me. I would say like almost monthly or every other month. I have my ups and downs. I have grooves of where I feel like a badass. I've got everything under control. Like my shit don't stink, and I can impress everybody with my mega Chad art brain. And some days it takes the cockiness and it takes that sort of drive and energy to feel good about what I'm doing, to feel proud that I'm doing these things. But those are like these very short bursts, and I feel like a lot of other artists that I've listened to make this comparison of it's about the marathon. It's not about these short sprints that really get you good at art. But I have to say, this is just from a personal standpoint. It's not one or the other. It's a culmination of those short sprints of feeling good about yourself and those long marathons that feel like they take forever. And it really tests your stamina and your might to stay to your craft and hone your blade. Um, I hate to really over romanticize these things, but I feel like uh, even when I meditate about my struggles, it's always related to art and how I can think about coming back to it, coming back to the thing that I love. Recently, I had an interview with Tofu, if you guys caught that on the previous podcast episode of Tree Bark. And I found it really, really insightful because one of the questions that I asked Tofu was about burnout. How do you recover from artistic burnout, and how do you sort of rekindle that drive, and how do you get yourself back into that creative energy flow that you once felt? And I feel like a lot of artists have a lot of different ways of expressing that and how they recover or how they even think about that. In what I could gather from Tofu was that as soon as he doesn't really feel that drive, as soon as he gets sort of out of that funk, he'll just not try to pursue art. He'll be like, okay, time for a break, time for some video games, time to just not think about art, because as you keep thinking about it, as you keep putting yourself into this state of struggling and being so mad and frustrated, these are more of my words, but what I could gather from him was that you're not trying to suffer, and you really want to take the time to breathe and step away from maybe what you're not focusing on. Like I think about even like some of my studying habits in high school, about what they told me about my SATs and how you're supposed to study for the SATs, and while you're taking the test, it's actually advantageous to skip a problem you're struggling on and come back to it later, because chances are you'll come back to that problem with a little bit more confidence and a little bit more time to think about what that answer was for that question that you struggled with. So just like with art, if I'm struggling with just sitting down and focusing, maybe I need to separate myself from the desk. Maybe I need to step away from all of this, just for a couple of days. It's not about quitting. It's about that marathon. And maybe I can't show up every day to do that sprint, to get all that excitement and whatnot. But one thing that I really liked hearing from Tofu was that after a couple of days, or however long it takes him, he'll just find himself sort of doodling, and he'll be scribbling here and there some creative ideas, and he just picks it back up. And I thought, like, wow, that's a level of balance that I want to achieve. I really want to be able to not freak out in the moment, even though I feel like I gotta meet deadlines or something, like I feel like, I'm an independent artist, so all the deadlines that I set are, based on myself. I'm my own boss. So I shouldn't really put that much pressure on myself to be working for myself. And if you struggle all the time, everyone needs a break. So if you burn yourself out and you beat yourself up for being burnt out, you're not making your situation any better. I mean, that's sort of the brutal honesty and experience that I've been through time and time again. So even to get kind of meta right now, that's where I am sort of mentally. This is why I like speaking on podcasts. This is why I like talking to other artists or playing video games. I'm currently playing a lot of Monster Hunter, to be honest. But but these may seem like distractions and things to get your mind off of, oh, I have to focus on art, and they totally are. But in that type of distraction for myself away from my art, they're serving a utility to not burn myself out further, to let my brain wander and come up with new ideas that I wasn't even aware of. So it all sort of has its purpose, and in this kind of like sort of, like voodoo mumbo jumbo spiritual way, you just let it all kind of coalesce later on, and you don't want to force anything. That's when you find a dead end, you don't want to just die on that hill, to die at the dead end. You just let yourself come back to the problem, sit down, and then just try to attempt another step. So that's what I really liked about hearing Tofu, and it really did make me think and get my gears turning about how to approach coming back to art. Even when I know I have to do things, I want to approach the art and the thing that I'm struggling with as a puzzle, and I want to go and figure it out. That's what's been on my mind as of late, and I feel like I'm already building up a little bit of the steam to sort of get those creative energies flowing again. I like being in this flow state, and I feel like that's where my best work is coming from. I'm not just some robot grinding out images like that recent, what was it, Dolly Mini AI thing. I don't think we're going to be replaced by that anytime soon, as a side note. I mean, that's pretty impressive as is, and I think there's a lot of utility in like maybe coming up with different ideas or compositions with that type of tool, but that's just what it is. It's a tool, and we are artists, and we can create great things if we just put our minds to it, and we just try to stick around for those short sprints and marathons. So I really thank you guys for listening to my little bit of banter, and maybe, just started picking up that pencil back again, or at least started ruminating about like, oh, I think I'll write down some notes about that idea I want to draw later, or maybe a song you wanted to create, or something that just sticks in your brain that you've always wanted to do, but you've never really just taken the time to just sit down and just sort of meditate on it. So yeah, that felt really good to get out of my system, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I don't know what I've been drawing in the background here, but I think it'll be something great, or mildly okay, and that is perfectly okay. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This has been Theo Corner Art Talk. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Hello folks, you made it to the end of the video, and I wanted to congratulate you with this ad. If you want to check out more things that I do and keep up with my creative projects, you can follow my Twitter at Shikokubo. That's SHIKOKUBO. Fair warning, it is pretty Wild West up there, so whatever you see is what you get, and I am not taking responsibility. But if you want to check out my Patreon, that's also at Shikokubo. That's SHIKOKUBO. And I generally treat it as a tip jar, so if you'd like to just throw some fun bucks my way, it goes a very long way for me, my projects, and the show. So I'll just still make this stuff, but a little goes a long way, and I really appreciate it. So I hope you guys have a great day, and take care. Bye-bye.